What's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 today. Wish you guys a happy Thursday episode time today. The previous episode, we had the band Relent on. They were talking about how they're going potentially on a little run with two other bands, and one of those other bands, they're here today. But before we get into it, please let me go through my shameless plugs. So if I had any advertising right now, which again, we're still trying to get, but it's just the parameters that they want me to work in just are not going to be fitting for what we're doing here. So sometimes I got to pass up on them. So let me go and run through our stuff. Please follow the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 Day Facebook page, Instagram page, and Twitter page, as you will get all these Song of the Day selections on those. And that's a great way to get to know new music, get to know new bands, fall in love with old bands you still love, and just grow your rock and metal knowledge and community today. And also, we do a lot of other fun things on there, like anytime anything comes out, you get to know about it. We ask you a bunch of questions. On Instagram specifically, we have new IGT videos every single Tuesday, which is behind the scenes look at what's happening with us, and it's always a good time for you to get to know what's kind of coming up next. And our Instagram live streams every single Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central. We've done some crazy things on those. It's not already come talk to us. We've done roast battles. We've done dark jokes and dark humor just for the hell of it, and it's always a fun time. It's always great if you guys come on. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel as well, because with the My Sunday Rock 2008 YouTube channel, you can not only get the Chord Progression Podcast, but we put out videos every single Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central, and those videos include album reviews of albums that we like, dislike, whatever it might be. We also do things with emerging bands in the scene that you get to know about them. We also do the Kevin Figures Out videos, where I take a band that I kind of not really know anything about, and I figure out if I like them or not. Then always the year-end stuff. And with the Chord Progression Podcast, where we are unearthing all the emerging bands in the scene today for you to get in on now, so you have bragging rights all over your friends that you knew them before they got on there and on the bill on all the big places and became huge. You can find it here on the YouTube channel. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. Links in the description below. But now let's get into the meat and potatoes of it, because this band, I heard about them back in 2019 when their drummer filled in for Skillet for 5 shows, and I was at one of those shows. And then Relent talked about them, and I kind of saw them like, let's go and give it a shot. Let's see if we can get these guys in the podcast. And bing, bang, boom. Oh my word. Here they are. So please welcome from Indiana, the band, The Protest. Are you ready? Because this was one fun episode. So let's go. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast, I have a very incredibly special episode for you. I found out about this band probably about a year and a half ago, thanks to a show I went to for Skillet, where the drummer of this band ended up actually playing drums at that show for Skillet. And then I was interviewing a couple other bands. They started peeking up with them, with bands like GFM, Go Franks, and Myrrh, Amongst the Giants, Relent. I'm like, okay, I want to try and get these guys on the podcast, and bing, bang, boom, here they are. So please welcome the band, The Protest. So guys, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
What's up, man?
Dude, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so stoked to be here, man. I love your enthusiasm. That's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about. I'm stoked to have you guys here too. I'm just like, oh my god! Like when I sent you guys the email, like I was at a bonfire with a couple of friends. I'm like, and I saw it come through from Josh. He's like, yeah, we'd love to do it. I was like, okay, this, even though I'm at a bonfire with a bunch of friends, with a guy that's been home for the week from the Marines, and he's got to go back next week, and we're all having a good time. Like, this just made my night. So I'm just like,
and did you jump over the bonfire?
Oh, it made it even better. And then all of a sudden people are looking at me like, why the heck is Kevin just going crazy? I'm like, well, I just booked a band that I absolutely love. So I'm like, let's do this.
Thanks, man. I'm really glad like you didn't catch yourself on fire and all the excitement. That's a big blessing.
That has happened once, but it wasn't because of my excitement. It's because someone decided to pour gas on the fire, and the gas can, like the tip of it, started on fire, and the guy decided to drop it and then kick it through the fire. And me and my other friend were on the other side of the fire, and our legs got burnt.
Oh, wow. So who is this guy? Was it actually you? Be honest. Was it you pouring gasoline on the fire?
Probably like 95% of the time that would have been the case, but this time it actually wasn't, because I had to be the quote unquote responsible one.
Okay. Well,
see, I have this friend who
I was the responsible one, but somehow my legs got third-degree burns.
It wasn't that bad. It was like maybe first for me. I think my buddy had second though, because he got it a lot worse than I did.
Well, I'm glad you guys survived, because if you didn't survive, we wouldn't be on this podcast right now. So
Very true.
That's true. And then if I didn't survive that, I would never start this thing, because that was, I think, 7 years ago already. Wow, that's making me feel old.
You're probably not as old as we are.
Probably. I'll say probably not, no, because I'm only 25 right now. So
my God,
I'm at that quarter life crisis marker.
Well, hey man, just be careful, okay? And I know you're going through a crisis, but just try to stay away from big bonfires, if you can.
Well, buy motorcycles you can't afford.
Well, I've gotten to the point where as for my full-time job, as my boss said, that the fact that I haven't been to as many concerts as I normally would have been, and going into as many mosh pits as I normally go into, my body is trying to find a way to hurt itself. And that's why 2 months into the shutdown, everything, I had to go to the hospital because my stomach was killing me. And bing, bang, boom, emergency appendix surgery. So,
whoa.
And then I did a podcast right after I got out of the hospital too.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so like you had your appendix out, which is, I don't really talk to too many people that's actually had that done. So that stomach pain, like how bad is that stomach pain?
On a scale of like 1 to 10, it starts out really dull, but it's just consistent. And then it just slowly gets worse and worse and worse. So it's like, by the time I knew I had to go to the hospital was when I didn't think it was food poisoning anymore, because I had that 2 months prior. I'm like, okay, this is definitely not that. And just because it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, because it went from dull to all of a sudden it just started increasing very gradually. And no matter what you did, nothing went away. So had to go get it checked out. And all of a sudden they're like, yeah, you got to get your appendix removed. And at that point I was just like, cool, can we do it today? I think I was in and out of the hospital. I think I was in and out of the hospital in like 16 hours. It was not long at all.
Oh, wow.
Did they let you keep it?
Unfortunately, no, I asked. But they were like, no, we already threw it away. I'm like, oh, I wanted that in a jar and put it on my desk.
Threw it away.
Dude, that's hilarious because, like, okay, you're 25, but you ever heard of Rocco's Modern Life?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's an episode where that exact same thing happens to Rocco, and he gets it taken out, and he has like this crazy fever dream of like where he hangs out with his appendix. He like goes to like an amusement park, and like he just takes him around. He gives him like one last hangout day, and then he sends him off. He tried to keep it in a jar, but he just couldn't do it, so they had to send him off to Oregon heaven. And I wish you had that. So I was like, and I was also the stomach pain, that all happened like one day, or was this like over the course of days?
It started the pain started on a Wednesday afternoon after I ate lunch, and by the time I decided to go in the hospital, that was Thursday in like late afternoon into the evening. So it was about a little bit over a day when I'm like, okay. And I mean, usually I'm the one that's like, I don't want to go to the doctor. So yeah, when I said like, okay, this might actually have to happen, that's when I knew. I'm like, this is definitely something serious. Okay.
I'm just asking because I was thinking just one day mine might just decide to like up and burst, and I just want to get all the information that I can.
Well, hopefully you have time.
I don't know what to do.
Hopefully you have some Rocco time with it, Sarge, before that all goes down.
I want to.
Just make sure you catch it before it bursts, because then it's the recovery time is so much quicker, and they make, instead of making one large incision across where it is, they make 3 smaller incisions. They do it laparoscopically. And I mean, basically they told me not to lift more than 20 pounds for like 4 weeks. And I think I broke that like an hour and a half after I got out of the hospital, because I had to carry groceries inside. And I'm not taking more than one trip. I'm just not doing it.
No, you're not a man if you can't get all the grocery bags on like one arm,
Oh yeah, you're draping them across.
Yeah.
That was like me today, because I had 2 paper bags, and like I had my work backpack on, I had my gym backpack on, I had the weight belt I had for the gym, like I actually had that on fully, and I had a lunchbox soon. I'm carrying. I'm like, I get to the door, I'm like, this is great. How the hell am I supposed to open this thing?
Well, dude, I mean, it just sounds like you're like a guy that lives on the edge,
That's the point. That's the point, man. I mean that's why I've been missing concerts, because I'm like, man, those mosh pits just seem just like that was like all the ultimate like live on the edge moment, because I've gotten almost hurt in so many of those, and actually hurt in so many of those, but it's all good fun. And I'm just like, I always look back, because I'm like, the ones I always get hurt at, are the ones that I have the best stories from. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to keep it that way.
Heck yeah. You have to do it for the story.
Oh, yeah. But now let's go back, because for everyone listening who can't necessarily see you guys right now, let's start with some introductions after, we've been on for like 8-9 minutes already talking about my appendix surgery and Rocco's modern life, of course. So what I want to hear from you guys is we'll do this, school style. We'll take turns, and I want to hear what your name is, what you do in the band, and then some fun, wacky, interesting fact about yourself. Because yes, I know it kind of sounds cliche, but I have heard people give me like their Tinder bios, like what they did on YouTube, like being a Swedish YouTube sensation before PewDiePie was a thing. I heard one from a band I recorded with yesterday that they have a famous cat on Twitter. So I hear a lot of random stuff, and I love hearing it. So whoever wants to start, I'm just going to say this. Take it away.
All right.
Well, take it away, Jarob. Or somebody.
Yeah, come on, Jerry.
All right.
Get in there.
I'm Jarob Bramlett. I'm the drummer of the Protest. Like Kevin was saying earlier, I did play for Skillet for just a small, like a month thing. I played 5 shows. Just got married 3 weeks ago. So that's exciting.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I kept muting my thing because my dog has this new squeaky toy and she's going crazy on it. So I had to keep muting my speaker. But yeah, man, life's been good.
Say with the dog, that's okay. There was one podcast I did where we were about to end, and all of a sudden the guy's 3 dogs ran into the room, and I'm like, okay, no, I have to do another hour, because who doesn't like it when dogs randomly show up and are just like going crazy? So I'm like, okay, we'll just keep talking about that. But congratulations on getting married. That is always a huge accomplishment. And even getting married during this whole entire crazy coronavirus pandemic thing too, because I know people that have had their wedding plans completely changed. Like one of my kids that grew up in our neighborhood, like he was about 2 years younger than me, he was supposed to get married the weekend after Memorial Day, but they had to push it off till August 29th now. And it's like, we're doing this one way or another. I'm just looking, I'm like, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, that's exactly how ours was. I was gonna get married in May, and then had to push it back to mid-July. But yeah, we were just like, man, we're not gonna reschedule this again. Let's just do it. So
and it seemed like it all worked out for the best.
That's right. It's awesome.
Alrighty, we'll go to the next one. We'll call out Josh for this one.
Okay. My name is Joshua Bramlett. I'm the lead singer of the Protest. Interesting fact. I'm not a hoarder by any means. But I like to collect things, like certain things, and they kind of come and go in different seasons. Like I still buy a ton of DVDs just because I love them. And I just like little knickknacks. I love like Halloween stuff. So I always buy like jack-o'-lantern stuff and everything, and I still have some action figures still, so pretty much just a huge nerd, I guess, is my strange fact. And I'm in love with the band Kiss. I'm a huge Kiss fan. So
nice. When it comes to Halloween knickknacks, I'm gonna say you should probably try to find one of these things. It's a Funko Pop of Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills, where he's got like the half Freddy Krueger, half Jason thing going on.
Yeah, we were just listening to that record.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I still remember, like, I first listened to that record. I'm like, let's listen to this. Like, I'm not sure exactly what it was. I'm like, I was listening to like 2 songs off it. Then I saw the band live, and after that, I'm like, I am absolutely 100% hooked. After that, like, it went from this band. I was like, I had no idea who they were. All of a sudden, they were like my second. Like when I redid a whole entire like top 10 favorite bands video redo for 2020. Ice Nine Kills came in at number 2. Like they shot up so far, but still couldn't crack number 1.
Was number 1.
Unfortunately, no, the Protest was not number 1 on that list. But my favorite band of all time still and will always be Rise Against. I've always been kind of had that punk rock feel to me, and I'm just like I've loved Rise Against ever since I was in high school. I'm like, I'm not changing it up again. Like I'm still listening to them every single day. I'm like, we're into this. So, but yeah, it's just insane to see all of a sudden like hear a band for the first time, see them live, and it's just like, okay, now I'm addicted. And I mean, I kind of jumped the shark on it a little bit.
But hey, they're a really good band. My fiance actually turned me on to them like a really long time ago. I used to like not like the guy's voice, but I just wasn't really into like screaming yet. But like he has a really good voice. They have some really clever songs, and they actually do a really wicked cover of, I think, Making Christmas from Nightmare Before Christmas. Have you heard that?
I've heard the original and I've heard the Rise Against cover of Making Christmas.
It's cool. It's really, really cool. So I dig that. But yeah, I'm Adam. I'm the lead guitarist in the band. And fun fact, actually, like how I got to know these guys, like I had Josh and Jarob's father as a high school teacher of mine, and like went to a really small school, and him, like their dad and I, like we used to get into like these classic rock discussions all the time, because like my mom raised me on like Alice Cooper, AC/DC, Zeppelin, all those all-time greats, and we just talked music all the time. And he's like, yeah, actually my oldest is like thinking about starting like play guitar, like you want to like teach him like how to play a few chords or whatever. And I was like, yeah, whatever, man, like I'll take $15 a week. That'd be great. And we just, from that, I mean, we just struck up like this amazing friendship, and like over 10 years later, like here we are. And so that's it's weird because I'm the oldest one in the band, but it's just like we've always been together since the beginning, and it's just been a really cool, trippy journey. Like we met through like my high school teacher, so that was a lot of fun.
Dude, I mean, it's been like, I turned 30 in a couple months. I think I met you when I was 12 maybe, or 13. So
wow,
crazy.
It's been a long time, dude.
Been a long time.
17 years.
It's been a long time, but also kind of speaks to the fact that your chemistry as a band is incredible, for the fact that you guys have been pretty much the same throughout your whole entire history at this point.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I've known Jarob his whole life, so.
I mean, I would assume so. You guys are brothers, so it'd be kind of weird if you didn't.
No, but you're totally right, man. We have a very special bond. I mean, it goes way beyond just business or playing music together. I mean, we are truly brothers and truly best friends, for sure.
And it's kind of also works too, especially with there's going to be an inherent trust there, where all of a sudden someone's going to try and like, you're working on some new kind of music. All of a sudden someone wants to try something. It's like, okay, maybe it doesn't sound on paper, it doesn't seem like this is going to work, but we trust this person because we've known them pretty much our whole entire lives. Like, okay, let's see what you got. Let's see what happens. And then you listen to it, and you're also, there's a lot more of a trust there to either give positive feedback or constructive criticism wherever it's due. And you're not like, oh, I have to worry about like their feelings. You're like, you know what, I'm actually gonna give it to them fully, because they know it's coming from a place of sincerity. They know it's coming from a place of love. So it's like, this is gonna be something that's gonna be helpful. It's not me trying to go against your idea, because if it doesn't seem like it's gonna work and you hear it out and it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But if it works, it's like, okay, let's run with it.
Totally. Oh yeah, that's actually a great way to put it, because that comes with a lot of that, like comes with time. Like early on, like when we were writing music, like the first like couple albums or whatever, I definitely felt that, because I joined the band. So Protest for Pluto, like our original band name, like that was already there before I came aboard. So then I was like, this new member, I've been around since the beginning. I haven't been part of the band until like 2009. And like, okay, I'm like the new member. And like, if I want, like, I was trying to put forth like ideas, I'd still be like really concerned, like, man, like, are they going to dig this? Like, where do I fit in? Like with like kind of like the creativity, like hierarchy. So that was like that took like a lot of time to get comfortable. It's like, yeah, I want to try this idea, or like, hey, I have this riff. And just through time and experience, like us being around each other and being true friends, it's like, yeah, I have this idea. Tell me what you guys think. And like, we've all gotten to this point, like, yeah, let's just hear it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, there are no stupid ideas. Let's just hear the idea. Maybe there's like one phrase that is really cool and we can work with. And, or it's like, yeah, I'm not really feeling that. We can like work with something else. Or like, even with more experience, like now it's to the point where like Jarob, like our drummer, he's writing like cool guitar parts. And it's like, okay, let's hear what you got. And it's like, okay, yeah, I dig that riff. I dig that riff a lot. Let's work with that. And for like a perfect example with he pretty much wrote a lot of our song Bad Self, and like he brought it to us. We're like, yeah, this is awesome. Like this is our drummer writing this really cool guitar riff, and like it's all like us being comfortable with each other. Like, hey, what do you guys think? And just like him bringing that to us, like you said, we're all just really close, and we're not afraid of new challenging ideas musically.
Oh yeah, and we're very I mean, we're very nice guys, so we do worry about feelings probably more than bands should after being together for so long. But Sarge is totally right. Like when you work together for so long, you're also aware of everyone's skill, and you know, and I'm so confident in the guys that I know pretty much whatever Sarge comes up with, for example, is usually going to be like pretty freaking awesome and right up our alley. I mean, same with Jarob and TJ, you know, like we're all just kind of, I mean, we've been writing together for so long. We, you know, it's really fun to kind of some things.
Yeah. And on top of that as well, it's like when you're thinking about it too, it's, because you guys have been together for 10 plus years at this point, right? And I know we were originally supposed to do, so you guys are working on a new single and recording it in Nashville. And it's just, when it comes time to doing something like that, you're going to have this comfort level with each other to just create something. And actually, before you guys even jumped on the call, I was jamming out to Bad Self. So, I mean, I was really enjoying it. I didn't know that Jared wrote that part. So I'm like, here I am before you guys get on the call. Like, I'm just like headbanging like crazy. So if my neck hurts in the morning, I gotta mostly blame you, but then also gotta blame the girls at GFM for that one a little bit, because I was jamming out to them like one of their songs, and then all of a sudden Jared jumped on the call. So if my neck hurts, it's because of, you know, a couple of great bands before that. So
Great.
But then again, it's a lot of times when I talk to bands as well, it's like when you really get to the core of like, okay, some of these songs that are a little bit more experimental and a little bit crazier, they usually end up being like the best ones. It's like, well, someone came up with an idea for something, and it might not have been like an idea that you would have thought of or thought that they actually would have come up with, but it seemed like it worked, so you just ran with it, and all of a sudden, bing, bang, boom, you got a great song on your hands.
Oh yeah. A great example of that would be I think our song Welcome to the Freakshow, which is off our Great Lengths record, and that was at the time like the most different song and like out there song that we've ever done. And like when we were creating it, we like literally have no, like, I was kind of scared of the song. I was like, this is a really cool song, but like this is really different for us, and didn't know if it's gonna, like, if our fans were gonna gel with it, but also, and it was really different for me as well, just for like, man, is this us? Is this like what we do type of thing? Like all these crazy strings and kind of like this weird like sideshow type of feeling that we're going for. But just through seeing it through and just like trying to stretch ourselves like artistically and just trying to do something different, I think it really turned out great.
I actually did a deep dive into Welcome to the Freak Show. So like I wrote down a whole entire idea of what I had for it as well, and I have it pulled up right now. So I kind of do want to go deeper into it, mostly because we were talking about having a little bit of a different feel to it as well, using a lot more strings in there. One thing that I heard was it was whenever you kind of think of like that, like that stereotypical, like, you know, clown carnival kind of music and that certain feel, whenever you think about it, it's like, you know, I don't know how to put it exactly, but if you listen to certain, because I've heard bands like, oddly enough, like a band like Here Come the Mummies, they've pulled off something like this. Ice Nine Kills with It Is the End. Yes, I'm pulling out Ice Nine Kills well, because when they on It Is the End, kind of like having like that circus feel to it, and all of a sudden they use the horns to really drive that out as well. All of a sudden I was listening to this one, I'm like, you guys are really using the strings to kind of like bring out that circus feel. And I don't want to try and compare it to what Ice Nine Kills did, because they went something completely different. You guys went something completely different, but it all depends on how you made that circus feel sound with hard rock. So did you guys really dive deep into like trying to get that circus feel sound for something like this? Because it really came through strong, and I thought it was a great move on your part.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were kind of modeling it after it was a Bird and the Worm. Is that the song?
By the Used.
By the Used, yeah. But our producer at the time, Mark Anthony, he kind of like headed that whole thing up, that whole idea. And we all, like Sarge said, we were freaked out, but we were also like, this could be super different and cool. So we hired a guy to do some strings on it. And I think that's what really like set it over the edge, you know?
What's his name again? Do you remember, Jarob?
I can't remember.
Dang it.
I was gonna say though,
he's crazy.
I would say with those strings, though, I do have to agree, it really brought out, because I can see again, like you guys were trying to achieve like that circus feel, like a hard rock setting, and the strings provide that feeling that you were there and kind of give off like a weird kind of like clown vibe in a way with just a certain sound. But it worked out incredibly well because it kind of just brought out like when you're thinking freak show, you're thinking circus, you're thinking like a fair kind of thing, you know, the big red and white striped tents, you're thinking clowns and everything, so you kind of had that feel to it. And the strings, I always love when bands bring out like a string instrumentation just to add it to like a rock or a metal setting, because it just gives it this kind of epic feel. But this one gave it like definitely that, I gotta use the word, it used a freak show kind of feel to it, so it matched perfectly. Sure. And then oh, go ahead, Josh.
Oh, it's all good. And you know, I mean, like I think lyrically and melody wise, it just really came together. And you know, like we never really ran it as a single, but it's just a big blessing. Like it's become a kind of a crowd favorite. Sarge does the awesome a ringmaster type deal of vocals live, and I don't know, it's just something different in our set, and I think fans always get pretty pumped to hear it, so we're super blessed on how that turned out for sure.
I mean, if I get to see you guys live, or how about this, instead of when I get to see you guys live, I hope you do play the song, because I kind of want to just really get into it at the same time too, because even listening to the rest of it, I do have to also applaud you on something with the rest of the instrumentation, because it was just, you guys kept this like very consistent pace, and it just added on top to what the strings were trying to do. It really stood out, because Jarob on the drums, you match an intensity of that like circus, but like circus for a horror movie kind of vibe, and I'm just like, okay, this really works. And then the guitar work, exact same kind of style, but was just a little bit harder, a little bit rougher. And in all, when it comes to the whole entire package of the instrumentation, how the song flowed, I mean, I can see why your fans absolutely love it. I can see why the fans absolutely love it, and I can totally tell you absolutely hit it out of the park on this one. This was incredible to hear.
Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, that definitely means a lot. Thank you.
I'll say now do I roast Josh on the vocals, or do I praise it, or what do you think I should do on this one?
Roast.
Yeah, well, it was a couple of years ago.
Well, I'll put it this way. It's when I was listening to it, it was you used a lot of clean vocals, and had a little bit more of like, compared to some of the other songs that you have, it was a little bit more. The range on your vocals was a little bit more confined, so it wasn't as varied at times. However, though, especially what the song was going for, I thought it was a fantastic move, because it came out clean yet slightly rough, but it added like this kind of like overall that freak show kind of feel to it that the rest of the song was trying to go. And it's like you're trying to mix your vocals with a tidbit of like a Marilyn Manson style. And my God, did this work out incredibly for you guys. I thought this was an incredibly cool track. I'm just like, this was not something I was expecting, especially listening to a bunch of your other songs as well. I'm like, how the heck did this get in here? And then all of a sudden I got to the end of it, I'm like, I'm glad that got in there. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, man. That definitely means a lot.
And I'm hoping like there's gonna be a live show sometime soon. All of a sudden you guys are gonna play it, and all of a sudden it's gonna be like, okay, there's a bunch of people going crazy for this song, and all of a sudden, okay, who's the guy that just got hurt over there? Oh, it's Kevin. Don't worry about it. It happens all the time. No big deal.
Where are you at in Wisconsin, man?
I'm in Milwaukee.
Okay, cool. I don't have all the dates yet, but we are going out on a run with Seventh Day in late August and through September a little bit. And I know there is a Wisconsin date. I don't know where yet, but definitely be on the lookout for that.
Isn't Relent on that bill as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the podcast before you guys. So,
oh, cool.
So I was made aware of that, and they told me about it too. And I was just like, they don't know exactly when the dates are. I'm like, okay, well, I'm waiting for those dates to come out, because whether it's kind of like either somewhere like closer in Illinois or anywhere in Wisconsin, I'm like, I will make sure I find a way to get there. I don't care how. I don't care if I have to sleep on the side of the road. We're making it happen.
That's awesome.
I'll just need to get like
you're the type of fan that are awesome at shows. You are the fan that like gives us so much energy on stage. that would we just like to throw it right back at the crowd. So you have to wherever it's at in Wisconsin, you need to road trip it there, man. You got to be at that show.
I mean,
it's gotta get nutty.
I'll say if you see the nutty guy, I'm probably wearing the same shirt as well, just because why not? This band is awesome. Okay, here we go. Ah! It's who the heck's the crazy guy? Oh yeah, that's definitely Kevin. Okay, now his he's on the ground. He's up, but there's blood on his face. Oh, that's not anything he's not used to. Okay, he'll be fine.
Is that his blood or someone else's?
That's always a good question. Most of the time, it's my own though.
Oh, that's good. So I gotta lead into this. Is that how you lost your shoes in a mosh pit?
No. So the shoe story comes in where it was at the Milwaukee show for the Under Oath Skillet Breaking Benjamin tour that happened last year. That was one of the 5 shows that Mr. Jarob over here got to play drums for Skillet, which I do want to get into more because I want to know the backstory behind that. But what happened was I got there a little bit later in the day, because I missed Fight the Fury, unfortunately, because I really wanted to see Fight the Fury, but I just missed them. So I got there, Under Oath went on, they were playing a lot off their latest album, and I was getting into it. All of a sudden, it was their last song of the night, and Spencer Chamberlain just wants this huge pit right in the middle. And this guy is running right across me because I wasn't anywhere near the pit. He had a battle vest on, and I just latched onto the back of it. And he turns around, I was like, what the heck, man? I'm just following you to the pit, dude. I just want to get there. So we're got this train going, we're chugging along. All of a sudden, we get there, and I get pushed in, and I get hit right away. Now, I made the rookie mistake on this and not tying my shoes very tight beforehand. So both my shoes fall off when I get hit. It was like that old Dane Cook get hit by a car thing. It's you ever notice you get hit by a car, all of a sudden people just lose their shoes out of nowhere. That's how I felt. And now I'm trying to claw through the pit, just on the ground, while standing up though, but trying to pick up my shoes, trying to pick them up. All of a sudden, I grab both of them, yes! I pick it up, and I only have my right shoe in my hand. I was like, okay, where's the left one? And I look up, and there's a shoe just flying from the pit towards the left, the left side of the stage. I'm like, oh no, I'm not getting that one back. And I was kind of mad about it because I'm like, okay, Skillet's coming on, Breaking Benjamin's coming on. I know Breaking Benjamin's going to play Red Cold River, and I want to go crazy to that one because I know everyone's going to. I'm like, oh man, I just wasn't having it. Plus, then all of a sudden it was middle of March, I think, so I was gonna have to walk back to my car with one shoe, and that wasn't gonna be something I really wanted to do. Plus, I was gonna want to be on the pit anyway, and I didn't want to go in without a shoe on because the likelihood I was gonna break my foot was pretty high. So I kind of stayed on the side. All of a sudden, about 15-20 minutes go by, and all of a sudden, here comes Jarob and Skillet with Lacey Sturm at that point, too, because she was filling in for Jen as well. And I didn't even know about this until you guys went on stage. I was like, what the hell happened to Jen? Oh, well, I'm just going to roll with it, whatever. So you guys start playing Feel Invincible, and all of a sudden, about halfway through the show, halfway through that song, my bad. Halfway through the song, I'm like, man, I really kind of wanted to, just because I was feeling the energy. I'm like, I just want to get in the pit. All of a sudden, I see something come flying right at me, and it hits the guy next to me right in the chest. And I look, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's my shoe. Wow. It just came flying and hit him straight in the chest, and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be mad because that's my shoe. He knows that's my shoe, and it hit him square in the chest. And he just looks at me, he's like, dude, I got your shoe. Just so happy. I was like, yay. He gives it to me, and he's like, you tell me, tie your shoes tight. And I'm like, I'm tying as tight as I can because I'm making sure this doesn't happen again.
I imagine Etnies. I don't know why. Just imagine a big Etnie shoe or something.
It was just a normal standard lightweight Nike, so it didn't hit too bad. If it was a steel toe, though, that would have hurt tremendously. But I wouldn't be the kind of person who wears steel toe shoes to a show because, well, I wouldn't be able to move around very well. But then by the end of it, it was like I tied my shoes super tight, and the guy's like, dude, are you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, okay. And he grabs my wrist and just basically WWE whips me back into the pit, and right as I enter, I just get knocked flat on the ground again. My shoe stayed on, so I was pretty happy about that. And I was going crazy the rest of the show. I'm like, this is awesome.
That's great.
And then I found out all of a sudden it was like, I was like, wait, where's Jen? All of a sudden it's like, you hear John Cooper tell, he's like, yeah, when filling in for Jen tonight on drums is Jarob from the band The Protest. And I was like, huh, I didn't know that. All right. And then later on, I was watching their Skillet tour vlog, and they were and I'm like, because I couldn't remember the name of the band, and I just kept hearing them, kept bringing it up. Like, okay, I'm writing this down. Like, I'm not forgetting this. And I was like, and I found out it was only like 5 shows that happened to, and I happened to be at one of them. So I was like, yay, I'm special.
Yeah, dude, it was a wild ride for sure. It was a huge blessing. Like, I always tell people that, you know, John Cooper and Skillet know like every drummer there is in active rock, and for some reason they chose me from the protest. But it was quite the experience, man.
How did they manage to pick you though? Like, how'd you manage to get to know the band, and how'd they manage to just basically say, Jarob, you're our guy for these couple of shows? And just because like you're saying, like they know every drummer in active rock, it's like kind of, how did it get narrowed to you?
So we had some club dates that we played with Fight the Fury actually, and we just opened up for them twice. And I think Josh just randomly hit the venues to be like, hey, if they need an opening slot, you know, we'd love to. Usually that doesn't work out, but this time it did. And so we played, and we kind of had a mutual friend with John Panzer, their guitar player. He's a friend of one of ours from Nashville. He's a friend of one of our friends, I should say. And so we started talking, kind of got to know him. And then the second show that we played with them was in Racine, Wisconsin, which is like pretty close to Kenosha, where they're from. And so a lot of Skillet came out to that show, and I remember playing, and I look up and Jen's filming the set, and we've been Skillet fans our whole life. So I was just like, what is happening right now? You know? And nothing was set after the show though. We just, you know, we said bye. It was great to meet you guys, all that stuff. We go home, and then like, I don't know, a month or two later, I get a text from John saying he might need me to fill in. And I thought he was talking about Fight the Fury. And he said they're going on tour with Breaking Benjamin. And I was like, really? That's awesome for you guys. He's like, no, it's Skillet. I'm like, what? So that's kind of how it went down. And my band was gracious enough to let me play those shows, because the protest was on tour at the same time on the City Rock Fest tour. So it was just insane flying back and forth from City Rock Fest shows to the Skillet tour, but it was definitely one of the funnest months of my life for sure.
I was gonna say, if you didn't take full advantage of that, I'd have been like, how did you not do that? But also, you gotta thank the guys with Josh and Eb and the rest of the guys for letting you do that as well, because that's an incredible opportunity. And not that, but then of course, like I was saying, it was every single show. I mean, John called it out, like on drums, Jarob from the band The Protest, and then even in the Skillet vlog as well. So it was, your name was getting out there, and your band's name was getting out there to a lot of Skillet fans at the same time as well, that would very easily listen to your music and get into it, because it does have that same, it doesn't have the same sound, but it has the same feel, I would say, of a Skillet song. It has that same like hard rock, but also can be anthemic and very inspirational at the same time as well.
Well, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
So yeah, from my perspective, like I wanted him to like take that journey, go on that adventure. I mean, like when it was offered to him, it's like I didn't care what we had to do as a band. Like I just personally, I was like, man, you have to do this. It's too great of an opportunity, just too great of an adventure. So like, and we got to see him once, and we got to see the whole show, and it was just truly amazing. Like I was just smiling ear to ear the entire time, just like like all of us were like kind of like side. We got to go backstage, which was great, but like we were kind of like side stage, just in the crowd seeing it. We were all like screaming at people, that's our drummer. Yeah, he's in our band.
Harvey, I'm Batman, you know?
Exactly. No one knows.
Oh god, that's great. Well, do you remember what show you guys went to though? Because I know it was kind of like the run was in the Midwest over here, especially the northern part of the Midwest. If you remember which show you guys went to for that?
I think it was Wisconsin, wasn't it, Jerry?
I think it was Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota?
Yeah. The Wisconsin one was at the that ballroom, or where was it at?
Yeah, you're at the rave at the Eagles ballroom.
The rave, yeah.
I've seen so many shows in that venue. I've gotten so many stories from that, getting hurt and just all the wacky things you can imagine. I've got them.
That's great.
Except like every time I think about a show, it's like, well, because even before the shutdown, I think I had like 7 or 8 I had tickets for that were at the rave. Plus I had a bunch of tickets for other shows, but like that's always the venue I have the most for, because it's like you have the ballroom, then you have the level below, which is the club level, which is smaller, but you do have a balcony, and then you have the basement level, which is just like your standard like club show, just everyone on the floor, standing room only, that's it. And those are the ones that I've seen get the craziest overall. Those are the ones I've pretty much had the most injuries at, but I like it. It's fun. Good memories, good stories.
You get injured quite often, don't you?
I tend to, actually, but then all of a sudden it's like the next day I'm like, because there was a couple of times where I've had shows on back-to-back days, and it's just like, I'll go back-to-back days. I don't care. It's like, even if like, okay, you know, I got cut here, all of a sudden like I got hit here, I got a black eye over here. It's like, okay, let's just go to the next one. Whatever. We'll just have fun, because that's what I love to do. It's like I love being at shows, just because there's a connection that you get to the music, especially being at shows, and it's just, for me, I just get lost in it, and it's just the energy, the euphoria, the happiness of all of it. It's just I thrive on that. It's so much fun.
It's awesome, man.
And I mean, I would assume for you guys up on stage as well, you'd kind of have that same feel, like being up on stage and just having this whole entire experience, and kind of, especially right now with everything being shut down, and with a lot of things being shut down, and how the past couple of months there haven't been really any live shows, how I would assume you guys are kind of missing that at the same time as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, we always talk about it. I mean, you know, the studio's great and everything. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we love writing music, we love being in the studio, but I mean, we live to play live. I think if you ask anyone in our band, we would say that, you know, we live to play live. We love meeting people. We love interacting with fans, and I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of where we're meant to be, you know? So we've had a handful of shows back since this whole thing's been going, and it's been really fun to be out there.
Oh yeah, I've missed it dearly. Like Shred said, like, the studio's great. I'm not like the biggest studio guy. Like, I love creating music, but I just kind of like, I love to be on the stage, and like when everything sounds right, like your amp is on, the tubes are warm, like you got a good sound, like you got a good monitor mix, and the crowd is alive. Like, for me, it's just it's like one of the greatest places to be on earth. And like when the crowd is like giving you everything they got, like it just really amplifies us even more to like push ourselves even further. And it's just, those are like some of the greatest times in my life, just where like there's like this genuine energy exchange, and we're just alive, we're worshiping, we're here, like we're in the moment, and it's just a great time. Like, there's like some like just like the best memories, and I'm sure you like with you say, like, you know, I love being in the pit, I love being there, I love like kind of getting hurt a little bit. I mean,
like a lot.
I mean, like I love getting injured. Like, actually, that's why my appendix got taken out, because I got punched in the pit. But you get it, because like you're like one of those fans where like you're there, you're giving everything you got to us, and like we're trying to give it right back at you. It's just, it's like you said, like there's nothing really like live music. I mean, listening to it on, you know, like a CD or whatever is, of course, like an amazing experience. But man, there's just something like truly magical about live music that you just have to be there, you know, and like not be there with your phone, like totally missing it, like just having that in your pocket and just like listening to the music and being in it.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like being present.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, even for myself as well, like just with putting stuff out on the page as well, it's like I always have my phone out at points during concerts to try and catch video of the show, because it's like, well, people are doing cool stuff as well. Like when the last concert I went to, when I saw GFM, because I was really close, like I got to get a good amount of video of them like up close too. So it's just like, this is perfect. But then of course, like once I get the video taken, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, now there's a break in the song. Like I'm trying to quickly post it. All of a sudden the next song starts. Phone's going right back in the pocket. I'm just jamming out too. And then all of a sudden I get home and I wake up in the morning and my neck is super stiff just because I was headbanging so much. I'm just like, this was still totally worth it. I really don't care that by the second song I was thinking this is going to hurt in the morning. It didn't matter.
Because naturally you secretly like being injured.
Exactly. But not only not only that, but it's just something where it's like once you get into that feel, once you're able to just get that drive going, and all of a sudden like you guys are giving the energy on stage, and as fans like we're getting that energy and we're trying to build up as well to kind of match your energy, or not only match your energy but get even more energy. So all of a sudden you guys are thinking, okay, now the crowd's giving us more energy, and we're just going to be just like a feeding frenzy off it, to the point where by the time the end of the show hits, everyone's just going to be this amped up kind of feel. And once the show ends, everyone's going to just have this great experience with that with those final couple of songs as well. I've seen that happen before a good amount of times, where all of a sudden by the end of the show, the energy level is insane, and then everyone at the end is just exhausted, but everyone's giving each other high fives, hugs, handshakes. It's like, this was awesome. And it's a whole community feel too around it as well, especially being in the crowd, because you're all there to not only see a band, but also to experience the music at the same time as well.
Oh yeah. I think we need to invent a device to where, like, if we have like a really great show, like we harness the energy and then we can power like neighboring towns to like wherever we're at, and just like go from town to town, like offer a service, like, hey, we'll come here and like we'll provide you guys with electricity. And
I mean, really
it's a good idea.
Just really serving the community,
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
It is good.
I'm pretty sure right now I could like harness the energy and like power a whole small town just by myself if I really wanted to.
That sounds like it, man.
I believe that.
It sounds like you go Super Saiyan in there and things get a little wild.
Things do get a little wild, but that's just the way it's enjoyable for me. I'm not going to go in there, but of course, there's always mosh pit etiquette where I've seen people fall down, you pick them right back up.
Oh, sure.
I've been in crowds where all of a sudden
You're
people
not
are
jerk about it.
No, I've also seen crowds as well. I've been in crowds where all of a sudden it's like it was an outdoor venue. It was super hot during the day, and all of a sudden people were starting to like pass out in the crowd just because it was too hot, and there was someone all over the place. But it just kind of happened. All of a sudden people are kind of passing out. We're like pushing everyone up, like the crowd's moving to the front just so that they can get medical attention instead of having everyone kind of come in.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Jarob?
Love it.
Yeah, it looks like Jarob has to hop off, but Jarob, we'll keep going with Josh and Adam. But Jarob, thank you for being on the podcast as well. This was incredible talking to you and hearing the story about how you got to play with Skillet, and also letting me tell you the whole entire time of how I lost my shoe and got it back while you were on set. And I was just wondering, wonder if he saw that, just a flying shoe, but you were probably just like so in the moment that you probably didn't see anything of that.
I wish I would have. I wish if I would have got hit by that shoe, man, that would have been hilarious.
It would have been a total roundabout thing. All of a sudden, I got hit with a shoe in a Milwaukee show. I wonder who the heck shoe this was, and all of a sudden be like, that was actually mine, and then that would have been just like,
life, man.
I love to hear that backstory, man.
Life.
But no, dude, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for having me. Sorry I have to hop off, but yeah, we'll do it again soon, man.
Oh, we'll definitely do it again soon, and then how about next month when you guys come around Wisconsin? I'll be at the show. We'll say hi. We'll hang out. We'll have a good time.
Awesome.
Dude,
sounds great, dude.
Sweet. All right. Thanks, Jarob.
See you guys.
All right, but now back to you guys. We got
this group got a lot less handsome. I'll tell you that much.
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
I'll say, well, at least we're still here.
That's true. We're the brains.
We're the brains. Jarob's definitely the looks. So we need the wild card and the muscle. If I've learned anything from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, those are the 4 parts that we need to any given team.
What are they?
Oh my god!
The brains, the looks, the wild card, and the muscle.
So what's up with the wild card?
The wild card is just like the crazy energy. You never know what he's going to do. Basically, think like Charlie Kelly.
Man, that guy is wild. Yeah, he is the wild card. Oh man, like who would be the wild card in our group? I have no idea.
Oh man, I think the wild card thing gets passed around, kind of like the Fuller thing gets passed around. You know?
Yeah, I think all that, like the wild card, that's probably like definitely a moving target. I mean, any given night, our guys are just strange. They're just strange to be around, myself included. I mean, if we had like a really good show and like maybe we have like a day off like the next day and like we have plans, like, yeah, we're going to go hang out, maybe go to like this antique store, or we're going to go to like this really cool video game store, and we're just happy. We're like, yeah, we're getting a day off. And I mean, and it's like 2 a.m. People are weird. Like guys are weird about it.
Yeah, and we have this thing in our band. So if you're familiar with Home Alone, there's a kid named Fuller, and nobody wants to sleep with Fuller because he wets the bed, right?
Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly.
The rubber sheets are already packed.
So we have this thing like almost every night, especially when we're in a hotel room. There's a designated Fuller, which is pretty much the most undesirable person to sleep with that night. So like if we have to share a bed, it's like Fuller is either someone that's farting a lot and they really stink. Fuller can be someone that's like ill. Fuller can be someone that's just acting real strange. And yeah.
And can also be someone who did not go easy on the Pepsi.
What's that?
Right.
And I'll say, and can also be someone who did not go easy on the Pepsi.
Oh yeah. And I mean, we have varying opinions on who's like the most like commonly like Fuller, but I don't know.
Say it. Don't say it.
I have to. Okay, I will say this. Like early on,
Jarob's Fuller the most. Come on.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing. Not disagreeing with that. But I mean, I think earlier on, like when we started like using the Fuller term, like commonly, like within our band, we're just like, man, a lot of times it would be definitely Josh. It would be me. And it kind of fluctuated between the two. But like Jarob, oh man, you gotta watch out for that kid. Like he's like a sniper with his grossness. But I think within like the last couple of years, TJ, I don't know if he has like a couple of brownies, he's a nightmare to deal with. He's an all-American nightmare. So he's kind of joined the ranks of like being Fuller regularly.
Seems like that Fuller title has now come full circle and has hit every member of the band with incredible vigor at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
I will say TJ, yes, he definitely, at first, he was definitely least Fullerish, but
yes.
Sarge is totally right. He's definitely moving up in the ranks. I mean, definitely.
He's gross.
We all are kind of, to be honest with you.
I'll say that. Don't worry, because like there are times where I've gone on places. All of a sudden, it's like with my family. Like there was about 5 years ago, we went to Denver because my cousin was getting married out in Estes Park, and my mom, my dad, my brother, and I were all staying in the same hotel room because saving money. But my brother and I were in college, so we really didn't have any money, so it made sense. And it ended up being something where trying to sleep in the same room as the rest of your family, for me, was a horrible experience because my brother was sick and my dad was the loudest snorer possible. And my mom was so used to my dad snoring, so she slept right through it. Me, I wasn't used to it, so I was just like up trying to find some way to sleep. So I ended up sleeping. They all thought I was like drunk or something, but because I was sleeping in the bathroom, it was no, because I could actually close the door and get some kind of quiet.
Wow. So everybody in your family was Fuller except for you,
and my mom, just because my mom has been dealing with my dad snoring for almost 30 years at this point, so she's used to it. So
hey, they make like really good like nasal strips these days, I hear, or like something like you put in your tongue or whatever. Like it's like a mouthpiece supposed to help out with snoring.
Oh yeah, the mouth guard thing.
That's what I've heard.
What I ended up doing then was to kind of just add to it was I took like pieces of like, I think it was Kleenex or something, rolled them up and try to use makeshift earplugs. But now I get like good earplugs because when I was in college too, like my junior year, I lived in an apartment where it was like the party apartment complex, and there was a driveway that led right into like where the main courtyard was, where you could get everywhere. And my bedroom was right above that entryway. So at 3 a.m, I'd hear drunk kids coming in and out, and it was just like, I gotta find some way to get through this. Earplugs were a savior. And then last year I was in Daytona for the Daytona 500 with my dad for his 60th birthday, because that's what he wanted to do. That's one thing he always wanted to do. The race landed on his 60th birthday, so him and I went, and I was like, I gotta share a hotel room with him. Okay, I know he snores, especially if we're gonna go out and drink beer, because we're from Wisconsin, we're from Milwaukee. That's what we've always done. And every night I slept great because I just put the earplugs in, bing, bang, boom, no problem at all. So
Dude,
I implore you, if you
I've never really tried it, but I don't think I could do like earplugs like to try to sleep. I just feel like that would bother me so much. Or like those face masks type of things, like for like your eyes. Oh, strange fact about me, which I wish I would have said at the top of the podcast, but kind of like a wacky fact. Apparently, I don't really snore. I think I'm like a pretty chill sleeper, but apparently I don't close my eyes all the way, and I look like I'm half dead.
Oh my!
And I really try to sleep with my eyes closed, but I just can't.
Like it's
psycho.
It's real creepy because it's not like totally open or anything, but like, I mean, like they're just barely like fluttery, like, and you can see like some of the eyeball. It's like super creepy for sure. But he's totally asleep. I mean, that's just what he does. I mean, he's definitely. I mean, him and TJ are pretty unintrusive sleepers. I'm a mumbler, moaner. I make sounds when I sleep. It's what I do.
Totally.
I'll say for me, I've been told I'm all over the place. I remember a couple of years ago, my ex-girlfriend's stepmom was asking a question about, like, they're talking about her dad snoring, her stepmom looked at me, she's like, Kevin, do you snore? I'm like, I don't know. I'm sleeping when that happens. But then there's other times when I was in college too. It was my freshman year, because I had one roommate and I was in the top bunk, and my roommate would always tell me, it was like once a week he'd come in because he'd study, and he studied till like midnight 1 a.m. and I was asleep by then. But he's like, every time I'd come into the room, like at least once a week, something weird would happen that would freak me out that you would do in your sleep. I'm like, okay, can you name one? He said, there was one time I walked in, I opened the door, and you went all like WWE Undertaker on me. And you just like sat up straight up in bed and looked at me with your eyes closed, but you were just staring straight at me for like a minute. And then you just slowly lowered back down. He said he didn't sleep that night. I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of funny.
That's terrifying, bro.
That is hilarious and terrifying. And I think I was going to say it's hilarious that you bring up like the Undertaker, because I honestly kind of feel that's probably why I can't close my eyes when I sleep, because like I used to watch wrestling all the time, and Undertaker was the guy. Like he's absolutely my favorite wrestler. And I used to try to do like the white eye thing, like roll up my eyes in the back of my head. And I try to do that all the time. So I just feel like I probably broke something with my eyelids, and that's probably so like when I power down for the night, I just can't fully close my eyes, and that I think it's because of the Undertaker. Which is totally
way too hard.
It's true. I practice too much for no good reason. I can't. It's not a skill I can use in life. And I mean, he made a career off of it. And I can't do that anytime soon.
I mean, didn't you hurt a family member doing the tombstone?
I did. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. A long time ago, I knocked out my cousin trying to do a tombstone. I told him to tuck his head. He did not. I told him, tuck your head.
Should have listened.
I might have been.
Should have listened to you.
Yeah, I might have been 10, 11. You know, like I put the pillow on the floor. I did everything correct, and I told him to tuck his head. We just kind of we just didn't do it right. You know, I knocked him out for like a couple of seconds, and like I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, I killed him. And he woke up a couple seconds later. He's like, what? I'm fine. I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord.
Also, if you actually would have taken him out,
trouble.
If you would have taken him out, yeah, you would have gotten in trouble, but then you probably could have easily gone to the WWE and become like the second coming of The Undertaker if you wanted to.
Which is secretly, I'm sure, exactly what you wanted to do.
It's true. Like, I mean, like that's what I was like in wrestling. That's what you're supposed to do is like try to like kill your opponent and, you know, pin them, you know, theoretically. So, I mean, technically I won the match. Like I knocked him out. I did pin him. He didn't know that he was knocked out, but I did pin him at the 3 count. Then he woke up. Memories.
Oh, I'll also do some of that WWE stuff, but basically what I was doing was, this was a couple of years ago with my little cousin. Now he's like 4 inches shorter than me only, and he weighs like 150, 160 pounds. So it's not easy to do this anymore. But when he was younger, when we would go up north to northern Wisconsin, because my aunt and uncle have a lake house, they'd have this raft out basically in the middle, like kind of somewhere in the middle of the lake, or like in front of their property, but the lake was gigantic. So it was, I mean, saying the middle lake isn't the best way to put it, but like I would take him out there, we'd swim out there, and then all of a sudden my brother and I, we would just start like doing WWE finishers with him and just throwing him into the water. I was always doing like trying to do the F5 or the FU from John Cena.
Yes.
My brother actually got to power bomb him through, and I was kind of mad about that one because my cousin didn't want to do it after the first one. I'm like, but mine will be so much better. I've got more leg strength, so I can actually like when I jump, like when I throw you, I'll be able to like jump up more and get you further out, so you're not gonna like almost like hit the side. He's like, no, I don't want to do it again. I'm like, dang it, really wanted to do it this time, but oh well, what you gonna do? Like we were, and then all of a sudden, I think the funnest one we did was we basically kind of like we whipped him. So it was, he had both his arms out, I had one arm, my brother had the other arm, and then he started running, and we just like pulled and just basically launched him into the water. The rest of our relatives were not too happy with us at that point, but my cousin was just like the happiest kid in the world at 11 years old for that. And I'm like, you know what? Worth it. I don't care if I get yelled at by the time we get back. By the time we get back, all of a sudden, my mom, his grandma are yelling at me. I don't care.
Imagine not being too happy about it. Are you there?
Yeah. I'll say it's a little kid. He's always gonna be happy about something like that.
Yeah, there's a time that we were, I think we all liked it as a kid, but then in our band, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago, we all got like really into it again, and we would never miss a pay-per-view, and we were always amped up. I mean, we would stay at people's houses, and if they had a trampoline, you better bet, like as full-grown adults, me and Sarge would go out there and just try some stuff, you know?
Dude, yeah, like what's Randy Orton's?
The RKO.
The RKO, man.
Dude, like, yeah, it was like super cold out, and we're staying at like, this guy's named Rocky's house, and like he wasn't there. He left early, and he's like, "Yeah, man, just make yourself at home." And yeah, like we was doing like RKOs. I love, for some reason, it's a simple move, probably because that's why I like it so much. Like I do the sidewalk slam a lot. Just like pick him up on the side, slam him down, bulldogs, hit like what are they called, hip tosses. I mean,
there was a lot of hip tosses going on,
right? But yeah, like an F5. That's like one of my favorite finishers. Is like an F5. Even though I'm not a big fan of Brock Lesnar, hopefully he doesn't hear this, but that's okay if he does. But I love his finisher. It's amazing. Tombstone is great. There's one move from the Dudley brothers, and they brought in Spike Dudley from, I think, WCW, and he had one called the oh no, I forget the name of it.
Acid drop.
Acid drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Acid bomb, acid drop, something like that. It was a killer turnbuckle finisher, and always a huge fan of that finisher. Love it.
Not gonna lie, I kind of hope for some reason Brock Lesnar does listen to this, just so that he shows up at one of your shows, is in the crowd, and then you guys are playing on stage, and he is just standing there, just staring at Adam, just menacingly, just say you didn't like that finisher, huh?
Dude,
it would
I'll
be
tombstone him. I'll knock him out.
dude. There would be 4 dudes that would be trying to take him down, and we'd probably still get our butts kicked, but
it would be 100% annihilation of the protest. Like, he's a wrestler.
Like maybe
he's
death.
also a
like
oh yeah, he's a former UFC heavyweight champion. So it's like we have no chance. We have zero chance. We are all fired from life.
I'll say if I saw him in a mosh pit, that'd probably be the time where I'd be thinking, okay, if you go in here, you're definitely going to have to reevaluate how you're going to live your life the rest of it while having to probably, not use your legs anymore, eat through a feeding tube, because this guy's just going to destroy you. But then another voice in my head would say, do it. It'd be a great story by saying you were in a mosh pit with Brock Lesnar.
It's
and
true.
then next thing you know, the next day, I'm like, worth it.
dude, it always comes back to a major injury with you.
Yeah.
You notice that?
It's worth my disability.
I've brought up to many other people, and I brought up a lot of these stories to many other people as well. And just like, yeah, they kind of have the same thing. It's like you tend to get hurt in them like a lot, and I'm just like, kind of happens. Yeah, I just put myself in that situation because if everything else outside of getting hurt is so much fun, so I'm just gonna go with it. Plus, so far the injuries haven't been too bad, but I mean, there's gonna come a point where all of a sudden I might get knocked out cold on the floor. At that point, I just hope that if I get knocked out cold in the mosh pit, someone picks me up, just takes me off to the side, just so I'm out of the way. Then
I
we're
don't
good.
know, man. I think they should pick you up and like crowd surf your lifeless body. That'd be hilarious.
That would be. It would be.
See,
They like crowd surf the body to the stage, and then the protest's energy would give you life.
now that would be something,
See,
especially
it all works.
Especially because that's one thing I've not done at a show yet, and that has been crowd surf. Because for the majority of shows, I go by myself, and I don't want to go up and start crowd surfing and all of a sudden have stuff fall out of my pockets. That's always a worry for me.
Right. Yeah,
So-
I've never crowd surfed, and I want to do it. I would love that experience, but yeah, I'm in my 30s, and I'm like, man, is this smart? Can I do this? Do I have insurance? No, I don't. Like, like all those adult like thoughts creep into your head. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch the kids do it. That's fine. That's fine.
Hey guys, look who's back.
Who's back?
It's Jarob.
Floating in the dark, dude.
Sorry, I had to take the dogs out and do some husband chores,
Oh, that's okay. We just kind of started going off on, again, getting hurt by a lot of WWE finisher moves and who is the Fuller of the group. That's pretty much what we've gone off on since you've been gone.
So, Josh,
You weren't on here, so so now everyone knows that you are all-time Fuller.
So, I think Josh and Sarge are usually Fuller, but it's all right.
Yeah, right.
Me and Sarge have a totally different story.
They also said when it comes to like the whole dynamic of the team, when it comes to, the classic, the brains, the looks, the wild card, and the muscle, Jared, that you're definitely the one in the looks category.
I don't know about that. I think I got the brain and the muscle. What do you guys think?
You tell me, is Mercury a planet or what?
Moving on.
Tell me.
TJ's, I guess TJ's probably the brains, maybe. I don't know. Like, if there was a category for like wit and charm and funniness, that'd probably be Sarge.
I would agree.
But that's not a category, is it?
It is now. It is now.
I mean, it can't be. Well, then what does that make you, Josh?
I don't know, man. I can't make my own classification,
Okay,
I'm the real nervous guy that is nervous all the time. That's probably my role in the group.
Okay, so
No way, man. No way.
No,
I think
Josh is
you're
a great leader.
Oh, he's the best leader.
So we've got the brains, the looks, the wit, and the front man.
Yeah, the nervous front man. There you go.
Not sure how that works together, but somehow it does. Because I mean,
I
you
don't
guys
know either, but I'm rolling with it.
Well, to say, because you guys have been together for 10 plus years at this point, and I mean, if you're nervous and you've gotten this far so far, I mean, something's working.
Yeah, I'm never nervous to go on stage at all. I'm just kind of messing around, but I'm just a nervous guy, you know. But we can not talk about that. Talk about something fun.
We can
get sad real soon.
Okay, we're not gonna get sad. We'll dive back into the music as well, because there's one thing I really do want to figure out, and that's bass. And when I was taking a look at kind of the music and taking a look at the styles as well, it was a lot hard rock, metal, and then also Christian rock and Christian metal as well. So with bands I've talked to as well, with bands like Relent, with bands like Amongst the Giants, with the girls from GFM as well, I'm always curious to hear about how the Christian influence got into your music as well, and how they got into your lives as well. So I'd love to hear that story from you guys.
Sure. I think we'll all just kind of go down the line, if you don't mind, and kind of explain how we sort of all kind of came about it.
I am perfectly okay with that.
Cool. So, you know, for me personally, you know, rock and roll was first. You know, I grew up in a Christian home, but I mean, rock and roll was first. I mean, like I said, I'm a big Kiss fan, so no way, shape, or form did my musical plans when I was shaping them involve Jesus at all, really. You know, I just wanted to play rock and roll. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as I grew, I kind of found Christ. I really found Christ and accepted him in college. That's when things really changed, you know, and I think that kind of changed the dynamic of the band as well, because around that same time, I think, you know, all the other guys were sort of kind of going through that big life change too. And I think for us, you know, our band verse is 1 Peter 4:10. Everyone should use every gift they've been given to serve others and faithfully administer God's grace in its various forms. So I think for us, that just kind of came the logical next step. So that's kind of my personal deal.
Okay, we'll keep going down the line. Who's next?
I'll go for it. Yeah, so Josh and I are brothers. Our mom was the worship pastor at the worship leader at our church growing up. So we've always been around it. But like Josh said, you know, I was just really into like Alex Van Halen and John Bonham, and I just wanted to play drums. And but then going into high school, I went to a church camp with my buddy. Radically like changed my life. I realized like just I guess the reality of like my sin and and just my need for a savior. So that's when I guess it was like the same time that Josh found the Lord and the rest of us. So we just kind of like consciously together we're like, man, let's forget about the dream of being like rock stars. That'd be sweet, but let's make Jesus famous first. And so that's kind of, I guess, my story.
All right, 2 down, 1 to go.
Boom. For me, like I said earlier, my mom kind of raised me on rock and roll. She just like introduced all these great bands early on, like when I was getting into music. And I was just really, really into like classic rock and just I really loved guitar playing, like just like being a guitar player playing solos. That I was just floored by it, and I was like, I want to do that. And started taking some guitar lessons from this amazing guitar player, and just kind of like when I was like 14, and I was just, you know, like learning like anything AC/DC or Zeppelin, Skinner, just like whatever I could get my hands on I could like tackle. And just through that, like when I said earlier, like I got to know Josh, started giving him lessons, and then like started helping him like find his way in music, and just becoming great friends. Like fast forwarding through all of that, and like through like in school, like like I would play guitar. I would do like weird things. I'd play like the national anthem at like a basketball game, or be like in a talent show, and I would play guitar just by myself, like some sort of weird song that had like no band at all. And but there would be kids that are like, you should play in a band. I was like, yeah, but like there's really no one else around to like be in a band, like not my grade. So everybody else is like maybe, you know, like 3 or 5 years younger than me in the band. So when I was in school, I just didn't really have access to that. So like when like God aligned, you know, like myself and the rest of the guys together, I was like, yes, this, like, I want to be in this band. So like I finally went, like, I've been playing guitar like by myself for years, and like, yeah, I want to be in this band. So and at the time, like, that they had like, yes, this kind of this ministry driven band going on, and I was like, I had to sit with it and like go through it. It's like, yeah, I can dig that. Like, I want to add something to this world musically, and not like our music has like a real purpose, and it's not just, it's so much greater than ourselves, like trying to, you know, spread the gospel and just trying to let people know about Jesus and like what he's done, and like the love that he gives his people. And like, that is, I think that it's just a really cool thing for us to like express that musically. Like, it's very, very special to us, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. So, yeah, that's how like Christ is like infiltrated like our music, and wouldn't have it any other way.
And I mean, and you know, we're warriors. Like, you know, like we love, like, especially me and Sarge, like, you know, we love video games. You know, like we love RPGs. You know, like, you know, we love having like a villain to fight and something good to stand for. And you know, because I think for us, like, rock and roll just goes way beyond playing music. Yes, it's fun and we love it, but we are literally fighting forces of evil. You know, I mean, every time we're out there, and that, you know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and one thing I kind of can put on that too with your music, from what I've heard, there's a huge reason why I also connect with your music. With the reasons why I connect with music from the like Relent, with Amongst the Giants, the girls from GFM, Skillet, the band Red, because they all have the Christian influences in there, and Skillet especially from 2006 on, from the Comatose album on. And the reason is because like when I was growing up, like I grew up and I went to Catholic grade school, Catholic middle school, Catholic high school. So, because that's what my parents wanted me to go into. However, it was, for us, it was much like, you know, still kind of the free range, you boys find your way kind of thing. And whatever happens, happens. And as I was in middle school, was because I went to a different middle school. I knew nobody, and just trying to fit in. It was like, okay, and I'm going to start trying to fit in, listen to what everyone else is listening to, do whatever else trying to do. All of a sudden, thankfully, Guitar Hero came around, and then I kind of like, I fell in love with Disturbed at that point. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start listening to Disturbed. And yeah, it didn't really go over well in school, because all of a sudden everyone thought I was listening to this other music. And then one of my teachers, she was trying to push a lot of music on me that she thought I would like, Christian music, and it was always something that was just, I never could connect to it, because it was just very straightforward in terms of the meaning. And then all of a sudden, as time went on, I started getting more into this stuff and started listening to more music, and really got into Skillet as well. And I kind of hear the same thing in yours, where it comes to when you're listening to the words and you're listening to the meanings of the songs, it's like basically when it comes to Christianity, the teachings are there, the principles are there, the characteristics are there, but it's not overtly there. It's more abstract, to the point where it could, like, if you could take it in two ways, you can take it the way of, okay, this is the teachings that Christianity is showing us, or you can take it as this is an inspiration for something else. However, the characteristic is still the same. So if you're trying to basically kind of like hype up, it's like, okay, you're going to hype up because you're not going to, like, kind of, I'll use like with Skillet with the song Not Gonna Die, because that's one of my favorite songs of all time, because it's this anthemic powerhouse. So it's like, you know, it's like, don't give up on whatever you're trying to do. If things are going bad in your life, you know, there will be another day kind of thing. And that helped me get through a lot of depression I was going through about 3 years ago. However, you take a look at more of a Christian influence, like, yeah, don't give up because Jesus is always going to be there with you whenever you need him. So it's kind of that you can take it either or. And I always kind of go towards the more like non just overt Christian basing in it, but I still love the music for that aspect. And I could definitely see that in yours as well when I was doing deep dives into it, really listening to it. So that's where something for myself where I'm like, I can really get into this really quickly, really easily. And that's why I'm diving deep into a couple of these songs and just going nuts.
Well, yeah, dude, thanks so much, man. And that's actually a really cool outlook on it, man. I think accepting Christ into your life is not a decision that any band can make for you or any band can shove down your throat. We're not ashamed of the name of Jesus. Come to a show and you'll find that out very quickly. But our music's for everybody. Of course, Christians need uplifted as well. I mean, just like everybody, but our music's for everyone. And if it can provide hope, even if it's not, associated with Jesus right away, then, I mean, that's a positive thing. Now, I hope this brings them to a show so we can talk about Jesus. But, our goal is just to shed some love, shed some light into the dark world of rock and roll,
Yeah, and that light's going to end up shedding inspiration one way or another, whether it's going to be something that is straight into people discovering Jesus and people getting into Christianity and accepting Jesus as their savior, or it's going to be something where they're going to look at it and say, okay, maybe something in life for me right now isn't going so well. And this song speaks to me in a way that there's something that's going to make there's something that's inside me that's going to make sure that I get through this, that it's going to be better on the other side, that all of a sudden I get through this certain thing I'm going through in life, or this certain time in life that things are not going very well. All of a sudden I'm on the other side of it and I'm so much happier for it. And one thing that kept me going during that time was a song by The Protests. I mean, that's a connection that you have for life right there with the band.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And that's how I feel with it. Like our songs, I mean, for anybody that listens to music, you can interpret it any way you want, and that's kind of like the beauty of music. And for us, obviously Christ is at our core, but if you listen to one of our songs and if you interpret it differently, or as long as you interpret it in a way to where you come away feeling better, or having more of a positive outlook if you're going through some sort of struggle, then we have reached our goal. And like I said before, we just want to, for our music, I want to add to the world, and just make it a little bit of a brighter place. Cause I mean, everybody has a story, everybody has pain, in their lives. And, if they can, latch onto one of our songs and, find some relief through one of our aggressive songs, one of our slower songs. And we are all for that.
Yeah, because take a look at your song, What Else You Got? Because when you take a look at that one, when you take a look at the meaning of it, it can from what I got from it, it can go two different ways. It can be something where the world's gonna throw everything it can at you. It's gonna throw the kitchen sink at you, basically, when it comes to whatever's going on, and especially this year as well, just because of how life has been upended for so many people from what the expectation was. It feels like there's so many things coming at you from potentially a negative light. But then it's kind of you're got this anthemic feel to it, and you're always, at the end of the chorus, you're asking what else you got, kind of thing. And it can be taken one of two ways. It can be with Jesus, you're always gonna have somebody by your side. So it's kind of what else you got? You can't beat me down with this. But then also from the other side of it, it's also taking a look. It's there's definitely an inner triumph every time you get past something, and whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So if for someone like myself, it's you're kind of just going with that anthemic drive, where all of a sudden you're getting to a point, things are starting to try and take you down, but you're getting past them, and you're starting to build up this confidence in yourself. You're starting to build up this fire, this drive, and you're just going to be looking and saying, hey, what else you got? Come on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And just the fact that it kind of has it has a marching anthemic build to it as well. Ooh, was that a good move by you guys? Ooh, I love that.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Josiah Prince from Disciple had a big hand in that song, as well as another writer. It turned out super well, man. We love it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to give a lot of credit for this one too. I have to give him a lot of credit for this one because of the fact that I thought it turned out so well, just because just again how it was built. Because with the intro to it, it was that hard rock anthemic march style. It kind of started out a little bit slow, but then you got into it with the drums and it built in the verses. I'm like, yeah, here we go. We're getting that anthemic style, and then all of a sudden, they kind of takes it a different light. Instead of keep up with that intro, like with that pace, you kind of brought it a little bit less powerful. But what I liked about that was it kind of let for like a wave of building it up, where all of a sudden it's, if you're trying to build it up, it's nothing's gonna ever be just straight up. It's never gonna be that nice. When you're trying to go, if you're going through there's gonna be bumps in the road. It's gonna be more like a wave kind of thing. So building just the pace of that and the power of the song through that anthemic march feel, where all of a sudden you're going up, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, now it's kind of going down a little bit. Then all of a sudden you get to the pre-chorus and it's just the isolated drums, and it's just you're just hearing the hit on it, and it just, now you're building up with even a slower pace, but just it's so impactful. The chorus, it's anthemic as ever. It's hard rock filled. It creates this great anthem throughout the whole entire song, and I absolutely love it because it just keeps building up as it goes along. But not only that, it doesn't just straight build up. It shows a little bit of that waviness to it, where all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's building up. Okay, now we're starting to go down. Okay, now it's starting to like level out. Then the instrumentation is less, but it's building up even more. And then the chorus hits, and it's just like, boom. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Dude, I love to just, yes, exactly. I love the excitement. That's what I was going to say. Like, I'd love to just have that recorded. I can just play that for people like, hey, is this a good song? Well, don't take our word for it, Oh,
don't worry. This will be recorded. It'll all be on YouTube. So you can tell people, yeah, watch this and just watch around the certain mark. And yeah, you're just going to hear what this guy thinks of it. And you're just going to see me just going, just getting really amped up. And I mean, I'm just getting amped up talking about it, honestly. I'm feeling that anthemic feel, because it was one of the songs I was really jamming out to before we started on the call. Just kind of getting that head bopping, and all of a sudden just like, whoa, what else you got? Just having a good time with it.
Hey, man, easy on that neck, buddy.
Hey, I'll take some Tylenol or some Advil or something. I did some neck stretches before this because I knew I was probably going to end up doing something like that. So just kind of getting that like roll in there. It's like,
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it feels better. And then on top of that, because when you're talking about a song, you got all the instrumentals in there, but got to go on Josh's vocals as well for this one, due to the fact that the vocals also have another build to it as well and add to it. And for this anthemic style hard rock track, Josh, your vocals I thought were fantastic, because beginning of the verse you use like less emotion there, so they don't stand out as much, but it's help needed to build that sound up. So I'm like, okay, I can totally see where this is coming from. I can totally see why this is there. Then all of a sudden the second half of the verse, you start seeing you amp up the vocals a bit more, and it helps to build the song overall. It also keeps it up. And even in the pre-chorus too, it kind of sounded like it a little bit of like an anger, a little bit of a flair to those vocals as well. And it was so great the way it worked out with that isolated drumming transition as well. It brought a little bit more fire to the song going into the chorus. And then it had that like emotional triumph feel to it with that hard rock kind of style. So your vocals really help bring the song full circle overall.
Thanks, man. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, he crushed it.
Yeah, this was something that I was like, yeah, this is definitely something that's got to, if no wonder why right now on Spotify, because I'm going to pull it up real quick, because I think it is your most popular track at the moment. And yeah, it is. And I can totally see why, because it has that feel. It has that drive that just inspires someone when they're listening to it to just take on all challenges that they have coming into their life, because they're going to be strong enough to take them on. And if they can take them on, it's like, what's the next thing you take on? What's the next thing you can take on? Life's going to always try and push you down, but you just got to get up and say, hey, what else you got? Because it ain't going to take me down.
Very true, man. It's very true.
For sure.
This also kind of turned into like a motivational podcast at the same time too.
I know it's like a TED Talk now.
Honestly, if I ever get to do a TED Talk, it'll be one of the most interesting things as well. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna have to give me like a half-hour TED Talk, because half it's gonna be just like me also like explaining this stuff, but then also getting amped up at the same time as well. And then all of a sudden I'm going to be like running around on stage, just like, I'm trying to think, just running around like crazy, just going like, yeah, kind of like,
I think your TED talk would, your topic would be like how to like get injured and love doing it.
How to lose your shoes at a concert.
And get them back in the same time.
See, I kind of like the first one though, because the shoes one, getting the shoe back was just pure dumb luck. Honestly, I have no idea how I got it back. But when it comes down, it's like, yeah, how to get injured, but also like at the same time. And basically it's all a connection about if you find something that you're just when you're there, you're just so emotionally happy that you're there. It's like it's basically like it's like you feel like you're at home basically. Then you kind of it's a great thing to dive deep into that just because you're going to create so many of these great memories. And especially during a time like this, when all of a sudden, the coronavirus hit, everything started getting shut down. Everyone's lives and plans kind of were getting shuffled around everywhere. And there was some uncertainty and no one really knew what was going on. I could always go back and think about those times. I'm just like, you know what? This is awesome. Like this, like I'm okay. Like I'll be okay because I can always kind of reflect back to those times. And when I listen to music now as well, especially for those shows that I was at, I can kind of recreate the feeling within myself just listening to those tracks. So I kind of get amped up. Like I'm trying to think of a couple of examples. Like every time I hear my favorite song, "Savior" by Rise Against, like I still remember the first time. That was the first time I ever jumped into a pit, and it was just like. It was something where I was going through a horrible time in life, and that was just a 4-minute segment where everything was completely non-existent. All that mattered was the fact that I was having fun and I was enjoying myself. So I was like, I remember that. Or hearing Popular Monster by Falling in Reverse. I got to see them right before everything got shut down, and just how crazy it was. Right as the bridge hit, getting whacked in the face with a flying elbow, thinking I broke my nose. End up not breaking my nose and got to lead the Wall of Death for the breakdown, and I was just like, "This is gonna be great." I didn't see the guy that almost broke my nose on the other side of the wall. I pointed at him. He's just like, "Yeah, I know you're gonna hit me. Let's just do this." And
before you started the Wall of Death, did you scream, "They can take our lives, but they can't take our freedom"?
No, and I completely missed my opportunity to do that.
Hey man, there's always next time.
There's always next time.
True.
There's I've got so many bands I gotta see as well. It's like the gamut is huge, and it's because I think this year like I'd have listed like 30 or 40 that I was gonna see that I had not seen yet, and like 10 or 15 that I'd already seen. I'm like, this is gonna be great. Oh yeah.
Well, bro, if we're ever around, I mean we play Wisconsin, I mean, at least a couple times a year, usually when things aren't too crazy. So if we're around, dude, please hit us up. We know some guys that might be able to get you in,
Ooh. Yeah, because I think this year, were you guys supposed to play Life Fest this year?
Yes, we were.
Yeah.
Because I got a ticket for this year that was supposed to be for Friday, because that was going to be one time that I was going to see GFM and I was going to see Amongst the Giants as well. So I was going to, and the girls from GFM were like, yeah, if we're going to be there, we're going to let you come up on stage for the last song and throw cupcakes into the crowd. And I was just like, no way. And then of course that got canceled. I saw the cupcake though that they threw at me at the last show. It's not an actual, this one's not an actual cupcake. It's like a fake cupcake with like puff paint frost that looks like frosting. It looks really cool though, but I'm not going to go get it because it's in the kitchen somewhere and I really don't want to get up and go get it right now and just all of a sudden leave like a blank screen right here. It's kind of like a weird dull moment.
That's awesome.
But like, yeah, because like whenever you guys come around, I'll like let you know, especially in like the next, when you're on this run with 7 Day Slumber and Relent as well. It's like, I'm going to make sure I'm at that show. All of a sudden, I'm going to let you guys know, let Relent know and be like, hey guys, how's it going? And if all of a sudden you guys are like, who the heck is that guy? I'm just going to say, oh, well, I'm going to have fun anyway. So whatever.
Well, sweet, dude. Yeah, seriously, man. Please hit us up, man. It's been awesome getting to be on here, dude. I love your energy, love your podcast, man. And just praying that you keep getting awesome bands, dude. Yeah, it's so cool.
So that's the plan. One thing I want to do is I want to keep getting what I want to do is I want to have the 2 days, which I'm going to start doing right now. But my whole entire plan is to have one day be with the bands that I'm kind of talking to now, like bands that are really emerging in the scene, that are really gaining a good following, but haven't like broken through that top tier echelon yet, and focus on that so that they can help, like we can all talk and I can continue to really deep dive into a bunch of music that I might not have gotten a chance to had I not been doing this. But then like another day, like talk to like some of like those bigger artists as well, because I mean I listen to a lot of those guys and girls. I'm like, I kind of want to talk to them too, but I got to build somewhere. So I got the emerging part down right now, so I'm like, yeah.
Well, awesome, dude. Well, hey, if you ever need anything from us, man, please let us know. I'm super stoked to share this around and get some more people checking you out, man.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. And then just before, because it seems like we're kind of coming to like a nice little close right here at this time. Do you guys know exactly like what time this tour is going to happen? Because I think you said like late August through September. What was it?
Yeah. So just be looking for dates. I mean, they should be posting any day now because we just met and there's a lot of dates booked, and I know there's one in Wisconsin. I don't know where. So it's supposed to start the 26th of August and run through the 13th of September. So just a little run. But just definitely be on the lookout for those dates. There's not a lot of bands playing live right now, so I highly recommend anyone listening to come out, because the bands on the bill are super good, super sweet guys. If you've never seen Seventh Day or Relent, you'll be blown away.
It's a great way to put it. And then I know you guys, one other thing, because I remember like we were supposed to shoot this a couple days beforehand, but I know you guys were working in the studio on a new single. So I know you guys are working on new music. So can we expect new music from you guys sometime in the future, like maybe later this year or next year? I'm not asking for a specific date. I'm just asking, like, can we expect it sometime soon?
I think hopefully sometime here soon, definitely within this year, you might hear a song, like a new song or two from us. And we've been working really hard on new music, and hopefully if everything stays as it should, we should be hitting the studio sometime in November to track some songs, and hopefully we'll have a lot more music next year, early next year. That's what we're gunning for, but you'll be hearing something new from us in the near future.
Well, we'll put it this way for everybody. When that time comes, when that new thing comes out, yeah, because we always post a new song of the day every single day on all of our pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And I'll say this, expect within the next month or so, all of a sudden, if you're like, hey, I heard the Protest on the Chord Progression podcast, but, you know, for some reason, I just forgot to listen to one of their songs. I mean, you're going to hear it as a Song of the Day feature. And then when that new one comes out, hopefully they let me know ahead of time and send it to me so that we can have it play on the day it releases as well. So we can kind of get some of that added boom into there as well. So it's like, hey,
thanks,
check
man.
out this new one, guys, because it sounds good.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that, man. Thank you.
Awesome. And then one last thing before we do the whole entire send-off sayonara, if you guys have any last words on, you know, where the fans can find you or anything, and then anything else besides that, I will let you guys take it away.
Sure. Listen, guys, we love you.
Uh-oh, did we lose him real quick?
Lost him.
Oh, right. Right. I'll say
With our
right.
fans. Please hit us up. Facebook message anytime for tour dates and stuff like that. Check out our website, www.theprotestrocks.com. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. So please check it out.
Alrighty. And then I like to always say this as well. Guys, I when I was in college, I studied econ, so I always looked at stuff like consumer behavior, how consumers respond to stuff, and convenience is always key, right? You know, you always like convenience. Who doesn't like going for a one-stop shop for place? But when it comes to trying to find the protest online, I know you guys, you just want to find a place where it's like, okay, and click on a link and I can go anywhere I need to go to. Now I'm giving you no excuse, because you take a look at the description of the video or in the description of the podcast on Spotify Podcast or Google Play, you're going to find all their socials, the links to all of them, their YouTube channel, their website where you can buy some of their merch. So yeah, go buy some of their merch. Cha-ching! Like ad drop right there. And then you can stream their music as well. So you guys literally have no excuse. Like, it's all going to be there for you guys, for you to enjoy. So yeah, go check this band out. Go get them now, because when they get to be as big as Skillet in the next 5-6 years, you're going to want to go and brag to your friends and be like, hey, I knew them before they got big. Yeah. It's all about bragging rights, baby. It's all about bragging rights. Let's make it happen.
Awesome, man. Dude, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys for being on as well. This was one of the ones where I was like, again, when I got that email response, yeah, well, we're totally down to do it, I was super excited. I was just even more excited than probably on this podcast. I was like, yeah. And then, well, thank God I didn't actually get lit on fire on that one, because, that bonfire that could have turned out bad. But so guys, Adam, Jarob, Josh, thank you guys for being on the Chord Progression Podcast. This was amazing. I know I always say to the people hey, this was an amazing episode, but that's because it was. I mean, no matter how late I shoot these at night, I'm always super energetic throughout these and afterwards, because I just get so amped up doing these. So yeah, you can always tell when I'm super excited if I'm getting amped up, and I am amped up even at the end of this. So yeah.
Love it.
Well, guys, I always hate ending with a goodbye, because I know it's not going to be goodbye, because goodbye always implies they might never see him again. Well, because you guys are going to be playing in Wisconsin sometime within the next month to date, and I am 100% planning on being at that show, this is not a goodbye, Adam, Jarob, and Josh. This is a see you later.
See you later,
man.
All right, see you later, guys. Well, folks, that was my interview with Josh, Jarob, and Adam of the band The Protest. And this was one that I was super stoked on when it came to trying to get this interview. And when I got it, I was super stoked with it. And you can tell throughout the whole entire thing, I was just so energetic throughout it. It was amazing. I really can't wait to meet these guys in person within the next month when they run through Wisconsin on a little show with Seventh Day Slumber and Relent. So we will be letting you guys know what show that is, and that they put stuff out there. So you'll know when the dates come out, so you can go check out some live music once again during this whole entire craziness that's been 2020, because we really do need it. And if you see the crazy guy in the crowd in the state of Wisconsin, yeah, it's going to be me, so don't worry about that. But it was great talking to him nonetheless, because we got to go deep into their music, we got to go deep into their roots, especially with how they got into Christianity and how that all comes through in their music. Plus, we got to talk about some fun things too, once Jarob ended up dropping off for that one point, all of a sudden, we're starting to talk about who the fuller of the group is and who all the crazy stuff with WWE. But I really was happy I got to hear the story of how Jarob got in with Skillet and got to play 5 shows with them, and then I got to tell my flying shoe story to him to see if he saw the shoe. Of course, I wasn't expecting him to see the shoe, but it was still funny to actually tell someone who was playing at the show, playing during that time it happened. It was so much fun. And I actually might bring an extra one shoe just to throw in the air. It's who the heck throws it? Kevin. Kevin throws the shoe. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you guys for listening, watching the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Sunday Rock Tales Today, where we are bringing up the emerging bands in the scenes, bringing them on an interview and letting you get in the know with them now and get in on them now before they get big, so you can go and have bragging rights to your friends ha 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 ha. I knew them before you did. I was a fan before you were. Ha 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 ha. Because that's always just fun, right? And that's going to be it for me today, guys. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes of Big, Healthy, and Hearty. See ya!